Why does it say that we're not? Hold on.
Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, the best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Rewind. We're back after a 2-week absence and a long weekend of pro wrestling. We are your hosts. My name's Kyle Tyson.
This is Arn Aku, the smartest, sexiest, best looking, best tracks, Mr. 8984, if you will.
Hey, we want to thank you guys for joining us. If this is your first time watching the show, me and RN, we usually just take a look at what's happened in pro wrestling over the last week or so, whether it be inside or outside the ring, and generally just talk about it, man. It's just a good old fun podcast. We're doing a little bit of a watch along tonight. If you guys are watching live over on twitch.tv/SmackedRaw, we're watching Monday Night Raw, which Austin Theory is taking on Kevin Owens currently. But yeah, you can go ahead and give us a follow on Twitch. If you ever miss any of our live shows, you always check us out afterwards on YouTube, youtube.com/SmackedRawPodcast. And then, of course, our audio podcast is found pretty much on every platform. RN, name a platform.
Spotify, which is where I listen to it at.
We're on there. Name another platform.
YouTube,
Well,
Apple Music.
Yeah, YouTube. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Music. Put you on the spot, didn't I? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
My
dog was eating a quarter and I couldn't get up. You started the show right when I was about to get up and grab her.
Jesus. Hey, look, man. We're coming fresh off the weekend of Clash at the Castle, NXT Worlds Collide, and then of course AEW All Out. And all anybody is talking about is the media scrum that followed All Out RN. A lot of drama going on there. We're going to dive into it. That's the hot topic. That's pretty much, if you're tuning into this podcast, that's what we're here to talk about.
Right.
We'll of course give our brief thoughts on the pay-per-views, but we're not going to recap them because that show would be 5 hours long if we tried to recap all three pay-per-views. And honestly, out of that 5 hours, about 3.5 of it would just be All Out alone because goddamn,
7 matches.
It
4
was
hours.
A long pay-per-view. Holy shit, 15 matches, man.
They cannot do that on Sundays, man. They haven't learned. They are literally falling down all the fucking potholes that WWE used to do. Like, there's a reason why fucking there are no more 4, 5, 6 hour pay-per-views anymore. They split them up in 2 days. Do the same thing. Or move to fucking Saturday where nobody gives a fuck and we can get hammered drunk and be like, oh, fuck, we watch wrestling all night. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make it just fucking dumb. I didn't even watch it last night. I watched it this morning.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you. I had a hard time. I had a hard, like, there was good stuff in there. Listen, so I'll speak on really quick on the length, and I believe this speaks to the rumored frustration that's been going on backstage with AEW, the friction with the AEW alumni and the WWE guys coming in, and there's not enough TV time. So this is kind of like the pitfall that WWE fell in with their big 4 pay-per-views, is they wanted to get as many of their people on the show, is what it seemed like. So that they can get them on the pay-per-view. And what happens is when you get too many people on the show, it waters down the matches, the storytelling, the pace, and now a lot of the big blow-off angles or the big moments that you intended to happen on the pay-per-view came off as less significant because there was so much show to happen that those moments didn't get a chance to breathe, and then maybe they got lost in the shuffle. You know what I mean? There was a lot of stuff that easily could have been done on Dynamite. The first thing that comes to mind was that the non match between Jungle Boy Jack Perry and Christian. There's
Right.
no reason that should have been on a pay-per-view.
You could
Luchasaurus
tell that
turned.
was probably supposed to be longer, but they threw the Luchasaurus shit in to cut the match time down.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. So I mean, it really feels like it's playing into all those rumored frustrations backstage about people not getting enough TV time. So they threw as many people as they could on this pay-per-view. Once again, it was 15 matches. Good Lord. And I don't feel like there was out of the whole night. I mean, the only major impact I can recall is MJF's return.
Right.
As far as
And that's
that,
and that's what my kind of point is, like, the fact that they do only do four a year, it is perfectly set up to have a 2-night event. You know what I'm saying? Even if you do it, see if TNT will take an hour or give you an extra hour where you can do 2 or 3 hours of Rampage or whatever, take over that slot. And then said you can have them back to back Friday, Saturday night, like something like you got enough leeway, being that you only go for a year, that you have months to shit and plan ahead and to get it taken care of. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me and then a Sunday night on top of it. When originally weren't there pay-per-views Saturdays?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand like what the
Now,
why would they go back to Sundays, especially if you're gonna have a 9-hour fucking show? Like, that shit is ridiculous.
And you guys know me, I'm not going to completely like crap on All Out. There was a lot of good stuff in there. It's just, unfortunately, it was watered down. Essentially, it really was watered down by the length. But before we get into that, man, before this becomes just an AEW exclusive show, RN, we also had Clash of the Champions, or Clash of the Castle, excuse me.
Right.
And then, of course, NXT Worlds Collide. Did you get a chance to catch those shows?
Yeah, I watched both shows. They were okay.
Yeah.
I can't complain really much about them. They were both like B shows.
The NXT Worlds Collide felt closer to NXT Black and Gold. I think it's like the closest it has felt to Black and Gold in a long time. Fantastic matches. The story angles weren't that big. No. Of course, most of the event was centered around the matches and then the unifications of titles, so there wasn't much room for like storyline drama, but the matches were high quality. I think hands down, Worlds Collide, Braun Breaker's best match to date with Tyler Bate. That match,
they're fucking. I was surprised at how good their chemistry was and how good they kind of molded it, and their styles kind of fit around it, because they both are still kind of like power based, but just how technical. Even like that was probably the most impressed I've been with Braun Breaker as far as like his in ring work, like since he started. Like that was a fucking that was one of the best matches of the entire weekend. Like it was definitely up there. And you know me, like I'm not giving out too much Braun Breaker praise, but that shit was dope. And I think it was dope too for people to see how good Tyler Bate really is. You know what I'm saying? Because we haven't seen him in a long time.
Now I ain't gonna lie, NXT UK pretty much got squashed.
Oh yeah, we knew that, but we knew that was gonna happen. Like I didn't think anybody, like the only one I was iffy about was the women's. But then again, like I said, like I mean, I wasn't surprised. But like if I was gonna pick any of the titles to go to NXT UK, like Satomura is fucking dope, and you know what I'm saying. Like she's a veteran and everything, so like I could have seen it going that way. But yeah, I mean, I didn't expect any different.
Also, let's give I'm just gonna come out and say it. Let's give Mandy Rose some damn praise, man. That woman has done so much work to scrub away the past. Dude, she like people. If you're not aware, you might be watching wrestling. Like you might be a new fan and not know this. Mandy Rose used to get booed out the building to chants of "You can't wrestle."
Yes.
And there is no sign of her. I'm not saying that she's now technically the best wrestler, but there's no sign of her being like a poor wrestler that can be found. Like
between her and Raquel Rodriguez, I don't know who cleaned up their image and cleaned up like their in-ring work faster, if that makes sense. Because remember, we had those same conversations about Raquel when she first came, how green she was and how it just looked sloppy. Like, but the both of them, like, but more importantly, Mandy, because she always got the pretty face, the diva fucking vibe and shit and everything. But like, that bitch can go, yo. Like, she can go, and it doesn't matter the style. She's had great matches with any and every type of style you can fucking think of since she's been in NXT.
Yeah, talk about a great revitalization to her career. Started in NXT, got booed out the building to chance of You Can't Wrestle. Gets brought up to main roster, has mixed success. She has obviously some diva-like stories. That romance angle with Otis was, I think, honestly fantastic. I loved it.
Fire.
She had a good feud with Sonya Deville, which had to end prematurely due to some real-life drama that happened with actually a break-in at Sonya Deville's home. Yeah. And then got split from Otis and then went back to NXT. And then that's where it really turned around for her, especially with the formation of Toxic Attraction. Right. I think Mandy Rose has stepped up like her game just tenfold, man. It's been fantastic to watch. Also, going over to Clash at the Castle now. I don't know. I'm stuck between for my match of the weekend because there was great matches on all of them. But Clash of the Castle, my favorite match was hands down Sheamus and Gunther.
No, we called that on our recap that was going to be. They beat the fucking shit out of each other. Like my girlfriend was like, if anyone thinks wrestling is fake, then you need to play them this match. I'm like, see, that's all I've been trying to get you to understand. Like, yes, it's fake, but they beat the shit out of each other sometimes.
Yeah, man, they really did. I actually need to go back and watch it again. I was actually I was pretty tired when I watched it initially. I don't think I gave it the proper respect. I remember really enjoying it, but
I hope we really get Imperium back. I hope that for sure.
Yeah, we got the reformation.
They're still calling him his name. They're still calling him his new name, Giovanni, whatever.
Giovanni
Vici or whatever.
Vinci.
Yeah, they were still calling him that name, but at least he was back in. At least they had the real Imperium back. So I'm not mad at it all. I hope we get to keep it. I hope it wasn't just because they were in Europe or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see on that. I was hoping. Now I'm less hopeful to see it, but it would be really cool if there's anybody I want to get their original music back, it's Imperium's.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
I can deal with everybody else's new music and stuff. It ain't the best. There's nothing that's I think outlandishly bad that comes to mind, but Imperium's music was
iconic shit.
Dude, it's so good. So
their entrance too, them standing there with just the light behind them with their hands behind their back. Like, and to me, like, I know they were trying to give off this, like, I hate to say it, but this like German, Russian, like fucking, you know what I'm saying, communist like vibe type deal. Like, well, their original, you throwing them in all red, it's not, it has zero effect compared to what their actual entrance in the music. I got more fucking like Nazi Germany vibes from that shit than them putting him in all red and changing his name. You know what I'm saying? Like, but to me, like top 3 matches in the entire weekend was number 1 was Sheamus and Gunther, 2 was Seth and Riddle, 3 was Swerve and Our Glory versus the Acclaim.
Yeah, man, that's another one I need to go back and watch. So I wanted to go halves on the pay-per-view. Because I ain't gonna lie, I usually just find a stream, but lately they've all been kind of crap.
It took me 9 hours to watch a 4-hour
show. Alison purchased the stream and then was kind enough to screen share it with me over on Zoom. But my internet like crapped the bed during that tag match. The audio never dipped, so I could hear the match happening, but it was like a slideshow. It was just still images. And it turned out like that was one of the best matches of the night. So I need to go back and watch that. Another match that I really, really was impressed with, although the finish was kind of flat, was Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho. I think those guys showed up.
I mean, the wrestling was good, but like, I don't know. I just wasn't into that match. I think it was too much everything. And then I had already heard people talking shit about his entrance, which I didn't feel was terrible. It wasn't great.
What was it? Like, Super Soaker Kelly?
I don't know what. I thought it was a woman the entire time we've been listening to that song since he changed his music. I didn't know it was a fucking dude. That's why it kind of threw me off. Like, who the fuck's this guy? Like,
so Bryan Danielson was sung to the ring. I don't know the artist's name, and I've heard rumors that they're friends in real life.
Taylor or some shit. Like,
yeah,
I don't fucking know.
But It was off. No, you know what actually had me was I was sad, not so much sad, but I did kind of bum myself out that when I was watching Bryan Danielson and Chris Jericho, that was the most entertaining match at that point to me, and it was two aged WWE guys.
Right.
And that realization was like, kind of bummed me out. I was like, man, you got all this burgeoning talent. I think Bryan Danielson should always be in contention for match of the night, but not clearly so far ahead. Now, granted, like I said, I know everybody's talking about the tag match. I wasn't able to watch it. So by that point, that was the big one.
You want to know the
for
best
me.
part about the tag match was it wasn't a normal AEW tag match. You could tell that Keith Lee and fucking Swerve Scott's experience, as probably Billy Gunn too a little bit. It wasn't like your average. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it wasn't like spotty and didn't have a bunch of fucking like crazy.
I heard it was
shit.
like sports entertainish. Like it was
it was a great tag team sports entertainment. It was a WWE match. It was a great WWE match. It was almost like not quite on par. Like I want to say it was better than or like Usos and fucking New Day, but it was that type of match. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like if that makes sense. Like it wasn't a normal AEW. Let's flip into the crowd. Let's fucking have Keith Lee fucking do a moonsault through the. You know what I'm saying? Like it was. Don't get me wrong. It was spots in there because I mean those guys Swerve for sure like does spots, but it was the story of it was perfect. They used Bowen's knee injury like out the gate as like a storyline in the match throughout the match, and like it was just well thought out. The pace of it was perfect. Like I said, you can tell that dudes that have been veterans in this game for fucking 15, 20 years or more, like Billy Gunn, you can tell their fingerprints were all on this match. And it was definitely the best tag team or multi-man match of the entire fucking weekend.
That's awesome to hear. Yeah. No, I can't wait to go back and watch it. And that's good. You know, when you are on a such a large card, and you know that everybody is just going to put on pro wrestling clinics, you got to do something to make yourself stand out. You know what I mean?
What they did was they did not make it an AEW match, and that's why, to me, that's what was so glaring about it and why it stuck out like a sore thumb. Because like I said, it wasn't like anything crazy because like the Acclaim, they're bigger dudes too. Like I mean, they don't look like it when fucking
Max Caster's huge, man. The more I stare at that dude in the ring,
yeah, I met him before,
giant
face to
of
face.
a man.
Yes, he's huge, but of course, standing next to fucking Keith Lee, he looked like a normal AEW wrestler, but he really is huge.
So I saw that. He got a shout out from. I think he got a shout out from like John Cena. I think he delivered like a AA at some point in the match to Keith Lee. Yeah.
Oh, it was like, and that's what I'm saying. It was just all these kind of like weird, kind of throwback wink type deals or whatever, because everyone knows like that's what his stick kind of is. It's a better version rapping wise, but not better than Cena, but like his version of Cena. And he he tried it a couple times to get Keith Lee up, and he finally got him up and dumped him. Like I said, it was the storytelling, the pace, everything. Like it was just so fucking. It was, to me, it was the best match on that card, hands down and by far. Like I loved the Kenny and Dark Order match. Like I thought that match was dope and the pacing of it. And it was a crazy ass Bucks match as usual. But with Kenny in there, like I mean, I love Kenny to death. He's my favorite wrestler in the company. So like I like that one too. Like I was just disappointed in, like you said, the ebbs and flows and how long it was. Like there was no like fluidity. Like no, it didn't seem it seemed like disconnected the entire night. Like there was nothing. To me, it felt like a 2 or 3 episodes of Dynamite. They just strung together at once.
Yeah, man. No, and you're not wrong. I saw that criticism, and I was kind of sharing it. Like I said, it was when you have a card so bloated, it's hard for stuff to stand out because you can't give things the proper time. And then, you know, too much of anything is still too much. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's a reason why we all have been praising.
The haters get to come out.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, it sucks all because even myself, like I'm a hater for it from time to time, but it was so much good stuff in there that you forgot about or got kind of overlooked because it was so fucking long and drawn out. And like that's why, like, I don't really want to shit on it because it was an enjoyable show. Like, you know what I'm saying? But like, But what TK'd on his bullshit and what he built it up to be, and then the shit after with CM Punk, like it just drug down the entire evening. Plus, with it already being a weird show, like it just wasn't one of their best outings. I mean, that's just the only way to say it. Like, and then nothing against the performers. There was a lot of dope matches, but it was just too much.
Yeah, and you got to feel for the performers too that are just trying to come out, do their jobs, and do them to the best they can. That the show can be so overshadowed. Let's go ahead and talk about this. So yeah, after the event, which was also capped off by the return of MJF, the show. So now, actually, before we do that, really quick, what did you think of the Casino Ladder Match Battle Royale? What did you think of particularly the match and then the finish?
Well, first of all, Will was 100% fucking correct. We got to give him his shout out for that. He called that on the
He called it
our recap show, not recap, but our review show. He literally called this exact thing to happen. I thought it was trash. Like, I mean, the match was going so dope. Really, even the match was kind of to me too. Like the ladder spot with Claudio was kind of like, what the fuck was that supposed to be? Like I know that's probably not what was supposed to happen, and they probably just had to improvise on the fly.
Yeah, it looked like he was supposed to lift it vertically up and send Andrade over.
Right. So like I got that, you know what I'm saying? That shit happens, but like it just, like I said, all of it, like I knew from that point over, I was like, this is probably not gonna be a good night. But I am gonna be hype as fuck if it ends up being a real faction and not just Stokely. You know what I'm saying? Like, being like a hired gun for MJF. Like, I hope that is his real faction. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people in the motherfuckers, probably too many people in the bitch. But I don't know. I much rather would have just been Ethan Page be the leader of it. But MJF with fucking Morrissey and all those dudes and Ethan Page and all those, like, that's a pretty dope. And then Stokely can talk for those other guys that can't really talk. So
got the ass boys in there.
Yeah. I forgot about that too. Yeah, that was And I love them. They're fucking dope.
So yeah, at the end you have this ladder match battle, like the Casino Royale bout ladder match, whatever going on. It was a decent match. It wasn't the best showing. It was decent though. There's a lot of good spots. But at the end, essentially the ring is I'm not gonna lie. The ring was flooded with Retribution members. Like early Retribution, everybody comes out dressed in black, ski masks. They assist one member in a ski mask ascend a ladder and actually pull down the chip. It's revealed to be Stokely, and then, like you said, all the other faces, they reveal them. Got Morrissey in there, the Ass Boys, Ethan Page, a couple other people too. There's a lot of essentially everybody that you've seen Stokely handing his business cards out
that's what
over
I'm saying.
the last couple of weeks.
I know it was Morrissey. I know it was the Ass Boys and Ethan Page. Was it somebody else? Did we miss somebody?
Yeah, there's more. There's seriously like 5 or 6 of them. It's a lot. It's a lot of members. There's a lot of them.
All right, I'm not tripping because I'm saying like, it seems like it was more than just them.
No, yeah, there was a lot of them. But on top of that, the Joker's announced, comes out, devil mask, and Stokely just hands the chip to him, and the person doesn't reveal who they are. They leave. We go on. We have the really long pay-per-view at the end of the night. You had CM Punk and Moxley have their match. CM Punk ultimately won. And then we get the lights fade. We hear a voicemail of Tony Khan allowing this person to be put in the ladder match without extending the contract, offering a shitload of money that was bleeped out. And then it's revealed, of course, to be MJF. It's MJF. He has the poker chip.
Was it revealed or not?
It was.
Did he have the chip? I can't remember. I didn't remember him having. I thought he just came out just a scarf on and that's
no. So he removed the devil mask, turned away, put on the Blueberry scarf, and then
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, and then came out. Yeah, it was revealed to be MJF. The Chicago crowd
cheered the fuck out of him.
Cheered the shit out of him. So here's the thing, and I don't know. I don't think this was AEW's intended response, but we should have seen it come a mile away. Returns are always big. People always chant for returns, and at the end of the day, even though your company is supposed to be perceived as a good company, we naturally are drawn to anti-authority, in all forms. And so even with AEW representing is essentially the company of the fans supposedly and stuff. When you have a guy who's gonna fight and take on an entire company, you just naturally want to cheer for the guy anyways. You know what I mean?
Not even just that. Normally he gets cheered anyway until he
Right.
gets on the mic.
And then
So if you weren't planning on him coming out there with a mic, you should have never sent him out there. It doesn't matter if we were in fucking Chicago, whatever. He was going to get cheered no matter what.
Yeah. I thought it was silly at the end. It almost was like he heard the crowd and was like, shit, they're cheering for me. And then just panicked and started flipping them off to get a couple boos. And I was like, it's too late, man.
And that still didn't work. They cheered louder when he flipped them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking idiots.
Yeah. All right. So the pay-per-view ended and then the real show started. Okay. So this media scrum essentially all boils down to CM Punk. They do this media scrum after all their pay-per-views. It kicked off with CM Punk, and so here's a lot of drama. He essentially buries fucking everybody. So I got a quote here from it. I'll go ahead and go through it. Because essentially he was just asked. I don't know exactly what was the exact question.
I couldn't hear the question either.
They kind of just asked was essentially what's up with you and Colt Cabana. All right. And CM Punk went on to say, he says, my problem was I wanted to bring a guy with me to the top that did not want to see me at the top. You can call it jealousy. You can call it envy. Whatever the fuck you want. My relationship with Scott Colton ended a long time ago. I paid all his bills. I have every receipt, every invoice. I have every email. I have the email that says, and I quote, I agree to go our separate ways. I will not get my own lawyer and you do not have to pay anymore. That's an email I do have. That's the only reason. The only reason the public did not see it was because when I finally had to countersue him through discovery, we discovered he shared a bank account with his mother. That's a fact. He also then afterwards went on after Punk, essentially the EVPs, but let's be honest now. He's talking about the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Adam Page. He says, what did I ever do in this world to deserve an empty-headed fucking dumb fuck like Hangman Adam Page to go on national TV and fucking go into business for himself? He says, for what? What did I ever do? I didn't do a goddamn thing. Essentially, he's referring to a promo that Adam Page did earlier a couple months ago, and where Adam Page said, you talk a big game about workers' rights, but you've shown the exact opposite when you came here. And I guess Punk interpreted it as him blackballing Colt Cabana. So that's what he's talking. He's held a grudge. We all know this, I guess, about CM Punk. Apparently the guy likes to hold grudges because I'm not going to lie, I don't think really many people have been giving that statement or that comment much thought outside of possibly Punk. I don't know. I haven't really seen Adam Page on TV and been like, oh man, he hates CM Punk, or that time he took a really big dig at CM Punk. It honestly, that comment kind of just went over my head. It just felt like good story.
And who gives a fuck about Colt Cabana anyway? He's fucking ass. He's better at podcasting than wrestling.
Oh man. But anyways, there was more to the CM Punk stuff. But ever since then, I've seen a mixed range of reactions. We have people claiming, obviously, on one side of things, that AEW's falling apart. We are seeing the lines drawn, the WWE guys, the AEW guys, Tony Khan's not taking control of the drama, and essentially the locker room is developing this toxicity. Other people claim is that, they're taking some of this real life drama and trying to spin it into angles. I don't think that's much. I think honestly what it comes down to is I think CM Punk holds a grudge, doesn't mix his words, and doesn't really have that company filter of if I say this, what will be the repercussions on the other people. I think CM Punk very much has just lived his life as he's going to be passionately honest with how he feels. Be damned what the consequences are for anybody else, including himself. And
that is what I took from that, because
yeah,
we've seen fired up, we've seen emotional, we've seen like top of the world pipe bomb Punk. This was not it. This man, that was calm. That was one of them things when you've just had so fucking much where you're past the yelling and screaming and cussing people out. You're just literally like, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out. Like that. If anybody watched that and thought that was a work, you're literally why wrestling is still alive. We love you for being a fucking mark. You fucking idiot.
Oh my God. Now, hey, listen.
I
won't go that far. Maybe those are your words. I ain't gonna go that far.
Yeah, that's all strictly on me at Mr. 8984. If you think that's a work, you're fucking done. That man, that was pure frustration. Just, and he finally had an opportunity to get it off his chest. You know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't no. That's one of those zero fucks given type moments when you know something really was on someone's mind, and they're like, you know what? Y'all pushed me to this. Like, here it is. You want to know it? Here it is. There ain't no yelling and cussing each other out and fighting back. Like, no, this is it. And boom.
So I took to Twitter. I wanted, I was like, because I'm not always like, I don't really always have my fingers on the pulse of what everyone else thinks. I tend to think what I think. And then, I find that some people agree with me, but a lot of people might be on a different wavelength. So I was like, let me see kind of like where everyone is at, given all the news that has come out and the media scrum footage itself. So I put on Twitter, I asked, what are your feelings about AEW after All Out and the media scrummed? And I put on there, are you more intrigued? Are you exhausted? Kind of referencing the long length of the show. Are you embarrassed by it? Or are you disappointed? And it looks embarrassed. Embarrassed was actually the most voted out of all of it. I'm not going to lie. I was actually kind of embarrassed for it too. I defend like good story and good wrestling. I'm not really much for all the drama of like the backstage stuff. I found it kind of embarrassing. But I will say this. It didn't win by a landslide. A lot of people are still very intrigued. And then some other people followed behind disappointed. But it was kind of neck and neck between embarrassed and intrigued, with embarrassed still kind of taking it. And I can see that. I can see why people would be embarrassed. That's just, it's dirty laundry, which some people are really into dirty laundry. Like some people really love it, especially if you're into taking sides. If you are like to wave a flag. I've seen a lot of people that I saw some funny stuff. I don't give it much weight, but I mean, I saw tweets like, I will continue to support AEW, but when CM Punk comes on the TV, I'm shutting it off. I've seen a lot of that, yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then I've seen the opposite. I've seen people who are like, look, this is a man who has a legitimate gripe. So it's like, there are people that really like to get into that stuff. Me personally, I'm watching this stuff for the entertainment. You know what I mean? That's just me. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. No. There's nothing wrong with all the stuff. That's why I kind of wanted to gauge people's reactions to this. But, when you see like your friends or your family having an ugly fight made public, it's hard for some people to look good depending what the fight is over, and this doesn't really seem like anyone's gonna look good.
No. Because despite everything, despite how fucking dicky fucking CM Punk is, like everything that he said, like me personally, I don't have a gripe with him being upset about it. Like I said, I'm not defending any of it. It was unprofessional as fuck. It wasn't the right time and it wasn't the right place. And kind of hypocritical that he said, you got, like you said, you got a problem.
You have a problem, take it up with me in the hallway as he's publicly doing this.
Millions of people. But that's just who CM Punk is. So, like, you kind of, I don't want to say give him a pass, but you have to expect him talking from both sides of his mouth because that's just what he does. Yeah. But he has some shit on his chest. He was obviously pissed off about all of it in real life. And, like, I don't think he said anything egregious. Like, he said, like, I didn't do fucking anything to you, Adam Page. Why did you go into business for yourself and say some shit out of pocket that didn't need to be said? All right, granted, you guys probably should have had to talk about it backstage. What's off limits, what's not. But that goes back to management being ass and letting the inmates run the asylum. So
yeah, and I mean, now listen, before we pile too heavy on the Hangman, it's not like he just unprompted come out about this. You know what
Like
I mean?
said, I'm not
There
shitting, I'm
is,
not saying that he was wrong because, like I said, that just to me, I know that boiled down to them never having a real conversation about what's off limits and what's not. I just
yeah,
don't see it happening. It was just like, let's just go out there and cut a promo. It'll get a little. I'll say a little bit of this, you say a little bit, but he ended up saying a little bit too much. And I
yeah.
know that's what happened. Like I know there was no producer like saying like, all right, Punk doesn't want you to say this, but everything's fair game. Besides that, like, and that's what would have happened in WWE. It would have been a producer there saying what you can say and what you can't, and not in AEW. And he just it went haywire because the inmates run the asylum.
Yeah, that's kind of what looks like to be implied here. The last little bit of like the CM Punk stuff is as far as like the Colt Cabana stuff. Like I get why you'd be sick of that, especially it you know there was so essentially it comes down to the rumor is Colt Cabana was about to be fired. But instead was transferred over to Ring of Honor, and that information leaked out, and it seems that CM Punk implied that it was the Elite that leaked that information. Sean Ross Sapp came out and said Sean Ross Sapp is the one who broke the story. The Elite is not the one that told him. I will say this. If you want to leak stuff to journalists, you don't usually leak it yourself. You kind of pass that info to other people that you know will spill the beans.
Right.
Yeah. So that way you can kind of essentially like we love our reality TV. You can keep the blood off your hands. You know what I mean?
Well, and even my thing with the Colt Cabana shit is like, fuck Colt Cabana. He's not good at wrestling. It hasn't been for a long time. He's a way better podcaster. And if you have one of your top guys in your company that says, yeah, you know I don't fuck with dude, you got to do something with that. It don't matter if it's basketball, football, whatever. Players get coaches fucking fired and shipped out. Players get other players shipped out. Like that is part of the fucking game for your star players. So like anybody that has some issue with that, like literally grow the fuck up. And then I guess you hate or should have an issue with literally every sport you ever watch because it happens all the time in all sports where they get a new player, he doesn't like a guy or they don't mix well, and that guy either gets cut or fucking traded. It just happens. So, and like I said, and like, who the fuck is really like, damn, I wish Colt Cabana was back on TV. I want you to really say, no one is fucking pining for Colt Cabana to be on TV. Get the fuck out.
No, I think what it is, and I think it is fuel for the people that like to spin their narratives, the people that openly hate CM Punk. Openly hate AEW so they can trash the environment. All it is it's fuel for them to come out and spin that narrative. Nobody is actually like I hate to agree with you, but I haven't personally seen anybody going like, hey, where the hell is Colt? Colt needs more TV. Right. You know, justice for Colt. Like you ain't really seeing that, unfortunately.
In the words of Jay-Z, nobody wins when the family feuds. And that's all this comes out. Like you said before, like there's not going to be, I mean, yeah, it's going to be good for like the dirt sheets and for like you said, people that love the behind the scenes drama, but like who's going to come out looking good in this?
No, yeah, it is. It's not something where like one side wins, you know, unfortunately. So let's take a look at what do we think is going to happen down the future. Well, honestly, I think things are going to get worse before they get better. And apparently they have, RN. So if all of this drama wasn't bad enough, apparently there was also an altercation that took place, I think, this morning. There was some type of confrontation. News broke early in the day that there was a quote-unquote melee, whatever that is, Dave Meltzer, involving CM Punk, the Young Bucks, the Elite, and Ace Steel, not Ace Austin, excuse me, where punches were thrown. As the day went on, more specific details have come out, and the last I read was saying that Nick Jackson was actually knocked out in this. Matt Jackson caught a chair to the eye, and Ace Steel apparently pulled Kenny Omega's hair and bit him So this stuff broke down. This is the stuff got physical, which I ain't gonna lie, man. If just putting myself in Hangman's shoes or the Elite shoes, those were fighting words. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, he said they couldn't run a fucking Walmart.
He said, he said these guys couldn't manage a Target. Which, which, hey, look, no disrespect to managers with that have to anytime you run a business that has a lot of very young employees, it ain't a cakewalk.
Right.
All right, I ain't gonna lie.
No,
so I felt that was disrespectful to the
Take it from me, it's terrible.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, yeah, it was brutal of an insult. And, you know, if I was on the receiving end, RN, I don't know how I would react, especially if I had to walk in a hallway and, you know, meet with this guy. I might come to blows too. But things like this, I think, are going to get worse before they get better. I'm not going to lie. I think this is where the tipping point happens. We're going to have more drama, I think, come out of AEW. I think there are going to be lines drawn in the sand. And unfortunately, I think what's going to end up happening is we're going to need people to be let go. I think people are just going to have to go. It's unfortunate. You don't want to hear people lose their job. But you have to see, we're at a point now where I think, AEW was quoted to have over 120, 130 something wrestlers.
Yeah, I thought it was up there. It was over
with only 3 hours of TV time, you know, and a lot of this frustration is coming from, you know, wanting to be used properly. I mean, like, why else would you be a professional wrestler? You know, you want to be used, and your spot is obviously on the line. You're gonna be tense, man. It's gonna be tense.
It's just funny to me that all the shit that people were talking about WWE with this shit now, the same thing has happened in AEW, which we all said was going to happen in a new
We knew
company.
it was coming. We knew you cannot bloat your roster to this point and expect YouTube to suffice. You know what I mean? Like throwing people on dark and everything. So unfortunately, I think it really is just going to come down to is getting your roster to a reasonable size, getting your TV stuff handled. It's going to be interesting now. Having some fun with it. I think Cody Rhodes had some pretty damn good foresight. Do you think so?
Oh, and that's my thing. Why I don't think any of this was. I know they're going to try and spin it like it was all work just to save face, but like he told us this was going to happen and that this was coming. He said it clearly.
He literally said
things aren't right there. Like it's going to end up being a powder keg. Like those were almost his exact words when he left. And what? How long ago did he leave? Did he sign with WWE?
It was about 4 months ago or so. I mean, it was before WrestleMania. He debuted at WrestleMania, and that was in March or April. So
less than 6 months after he signed with the other company, where everything he said is coming to fruition.
Yeah, and like I said, we saw it coming. We're not dumb. It's as much. I mean, you guys call me an AEW shill. I'm not going to sit here and act dramatic like I didn't know this was going to happen. I knew. I've always said, I was like, man, the roster's getting bloated. Like I could just, but I'm not going to lie. I did not see it unfolding so dramatically at the top. Now, a lot of people who, you know, familiar with CM Punk, they probably are like, I saw this coming a mile away. This is what you get when you get CM Punk.
Well, not even just the CM Punk part, because I think that was just kind of like one more match thrown on the fire. Like, I thought that it would have came to this regardless of the fact. But people keep fucking forgetting that Cody Rhodes was a founder and an EVP of the company. So maybe, just maybe, he knew what he was talking about. He wasn't just a disgruntled employee leaving like everyone played him out to be like, no, he wasn't a disgruntled employee. He was a disgruntled creator.
Wasn't the story that he wanted more money and he was frustrated over
and he was
pay.
just bitter. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he probably should want more money when he's an executive and a fucking performer. Like,
Yeah. Oh, man. But Alison asks, do we think Punk will be let go? No. No.
Absolutely not.
I think if the story is to be true, I think I don't envy Tony Khan right now. I do not envy this. But what I would say is, obviously, you need a clear authority figure. Oh my God, this is gonna sound so bad. AEW needs some authority. Like, you need a clear authority figure. You need consequences for actions, and you need a plan. You need a roadmap. You need to tell these people these are the things that we are doing to right these wrongs. And if Tony Khan can't take on those roles, he needs to find somebody that can.
Chris Jericho's been saying all this shit too. We just haven't been listening.
Yeah.
He's been like throwing little breadcrumbs out about him trying to take some of the younger guys on and help them with their matches and help them explain the do's and don'ts and everything. And he said he wished that there was more people like him. And backstage, he said that with Austin. So that's another part of this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if one of your veterans that's been at every fucking company there is, almost literally all the top 5 companies in the world, he's been there. If he's secretly trying to fucking make sure the next generation doesn't get fucked, that should tell us something. So we got 2 high-ranking people in that company that said this was coming and said that if there's no structure, there's no management there, really. When are we going to actually start paying attention and maybe start listening?
Yeah, man. But the large question is AEW going under? Is this signs of the demise? I don't think so. I think this is just the honeymoon phase is clearly over. Right. The honeymoon phase is clearly over. You've grown your company now to a certain size, and now you have to make hard decisions to accommodate the size of your company. You're not just going to land another 2-hour television deal. And then I really hope this AEW women's rumor, like this show that they're going to do exclusive for their women, I really hope that's not true. That is just the wrong move to make. You don't put your women just on an island and then blame fans if they don't want to watch them. Like, you have to build them up on the main show. You have to show that they're important. It's the reason why.
No, that's what they're gonna do. That's all that is.
Yeah. Otherwise, no one would have a problem with being on Dark. No one would ever complain that they're stuck on Dark all the time. It's like, no, they know that Dynamite is the main show, and so because that's the show that Tony Khan and everybody cares about the most. So you want to be on that show to reflect that, so it's interesting. It's not going to be an easy time. And there's going to be more drama that comes out from it. But I mean, Tony Khan has the resources to handle this. He just has to start making better moves for his company. Because otherwise, I will tell you one thing though. The Elite right now, the reason we have to understand the reason why AEW, one of the biggest reasons why it was so successful early on was because of all the mishappenings in WWE, all the just the terrible non-existent fan service WWE was doing or was lacking. And now WWE, with Vince McMahon out of the way, Triple H in control creatively, WWE is not a terrible place to wind up now. No. And we have to, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
But that does mean a lot of your guys that said they would not work there because of those issues, now that those issues are not there, there's, I hate to say it, but there's no real reason to stick with AEW if a better opportunity presents itself with WWE.
Right. Because we need to get over this fucking veil of them being an actual threat to WWE. They're not. They're not any way, shape, or form close to being a threat. We saw that when Raw and SmackDown were by far the worst 2 shows in wrestling, probably in the past 5 to 6 years, and AEW still couldn't get more viewers than SmackDown, which was probably the most ass show that has ever been put on TV from 2018 to when Roman finally got together with the Bloodline. So 2021? SmackDown was garbage.
It was like 2020, 2021.
So it was garbage until fucking those 5 minutes. And even when he was on it, it was garbage those 5 to 10 minutes he was on. Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't on. And then back to being what it was, and AEW still barely was getting 1 million views to keep up with SmackDown that gets 2 million. So they're not competition. Let's just get off of that. Let's stay away from that. Let's pretend like they don't exist. Like there's no reason to do that. And I think that that's been a lot of their fucking problem is throwing rocks at the throne for no reason. Like stay in your lane, bro.
Yeah, so Noob in the chat says AEW was created because of the issues over WWE, and you're right. That attributes a lot of the success that they had was because of those frustrating things. It gave us that alternative, but now WWE is on a hell of a good run for the since SummerSlam, and is not exhibiting those problems. The narrative of true wrestling fans and true wrestlers despise WWE. That narrative is no longer going to be relevant because it was really Vince. At the end of the day, it was Vince, not WWE. It was Vince. True wrestling fans did not like Vince McMahon's, and you can use quotations for this. I don't mean you're not a wrestling fan if you were a fan of Vince, but just that was the narrative being spun.
Right.
Was that these hardcore wrestling fans were not a fan of Vince McMahon's vision for what a professional wrestling product was, and that AEW gave them that alternative. With Vince out of the way now, we have the opportunity to now have 2 fantastic shows to accommodate those fans, and spinning your company as it's not anti-WWE, it was really anti-Vince. And with Vince out of the way, there's less and less issues. I'm not going to lie with WWE. It is. I've genuinely been having a much funner time watching Raw.
Look at all the returns. Just the last 2 returns tonight with Braun and with Johnny Gargano, which we all, besides me, said that there was no doubt about it. He was probably going to go to AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it was, dude. Especially if you were coming from NXT. Right. If you were coming from NXT, you were like, I have to go to AEW. Raw and SmackDown is just going to kill my character, my momentum. And now you don't. That fear is kind of non-existent at this point. Let's be honest. By the way, on a side note, you see Braun Strowman fall over trying to do the train? Dude.
We gonna say this for next week, or can we talk about it now?
Let's talk about it now. That president.
Okay, I hate Braun Strowman is back. I'm back on that train. I think he
looked good though. Like his physique
damn good.
Fucking Jesus Christ.
Why would you have him come back? This is the first misstep for Triple H, I think. Why would you have him come back and destroy the whole fucking tag team division in the company?
Not only that, do the exact same presentation as
he just had pants on, red pants on.
Yeah, now he had red pants on. I had Shinsuke pants on.
Desert Storm.
He looked like he went to wherever Shinsuke gets his clothes from, and but he came out to the same music. He did the train. All right, no, we were like,
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give it a chance. He looks different. He's a little bit more menacing. He's not being funny.
Yeah. And then he did the whole, let's do the train thing.
2 minutes in, he did the fucking train. I was like, well, I'm back out on Braun. It's going to be a no for me.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Players fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Triple H, he couldn't get them all. They couldn't all be home runs. Sometimes you got to hit a single or double.
Yeah, look bad. He did, though. He did just demolish the entire tag division.
Literally, your entire. And then not on top of that, Otis and fucking Gable, who you've been kind of propping up, who've been kind of had a mini push, and the Street Profits, beat the Bray and New Day too. I forgot, beat the fuck out of your top tag teams in the whole company.
Next week, all 8 of those guys, because it was 8 guys, right? It was was it 3 teams?
No, it was 4 teams.
It was New Days, Los Lotharios, American Alpha.
Yeah. And
was there?
No, I think
Profits. And Street Profits. Yeah. Street Profits. All 8 of those guys need to have a segment where they just jump Braun Strowman next week.
Right.
That's it, man. Because come on, let's not do WrestleMania all over again where Braun Strowman wins the tag straps with a child. All right.
Literally.
Let's not do that. Anyways, Jesus Christ.
Like, come on, bro. Like that was the only thing. I'm like, why? Why?
Yeah. Why did he bring back the train? Noob says, "I'm right there with you, buddy." That was
That's the thing I hate most.
That's what me and RN were saying, man. We were like, "Look, you can bring Braun back. He can be a silly Vince guy. Just do us a favor and ditch the train." It's silly, but maybe maybe that's just they want Braun to appeal to children because he is that like larger than life figure. Who knows? Either way, it was silly, and he went and he I think he was supposed to dive under like Chad Gable, and he just fell down. He just fell down, and then he got up and then speared. I forget who through the barrier. It was hilarious. I hope Hunter. Noob says, I hope Hunter doesn't bring back Kairi Sane because I don't know if she's going to connect with the hardcore fans. Interesting take, man. Very interesting take. I think she'd be all right. I think she'd be okay.
I mean, she didn't leave on. They didn't fire her. She left on her own.
Yeah, no, because someone else once again that was just like, look, this is not that good. Where Marie chimes in and says Kairi is in Stardom. Yeah, she finally got to go back after she was forced to miss like that big anniversary show. She was banned from seeing that. That was pretty low of WWE or Vince. Let's just blame Vince. Anything negative, WWE, we'll just blame Vince. But yeah, man. So look, I'm still gonna tune in. I'm still gonna wave the AEW banner. I'm really rooting for these guys because at the end of the day, this is not a AEW versus WWE argument. This is competition creates content. You know what I mean? This is the old and tried truth of the matter is when you have two decent shows.
A line in the sand is going to be drawn.
Yeah, a line in the sand to be drawn. But then also, like I said, it allows for a better product. People come to work more motivated, to do a better job, obviously. And so, like, I believe everything is getting better. But it's going to be... If you are out there and you are an AEW tribalist, man, you're going to have an exhausting time over the next couple weeks because I'm pretty sure this unpretty drama is going to keep rearing its ugly head for some time. And those WWE and Vince McMahon shills are going to finally get some comeuppance. They're going to come out there in droves. I don't know, man. That stuff I always find silly. But I ain't gonna lie. Even when I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this is fucking stupid. How can you think like that? I get suckered in, man. I'm a mark. I get suckered in sometimes. But yeah. How's that? How's that? I've been meaning to download it so I can use it for the like the starting soon screens. But how's that album, man? Children of the Corn. How y'all doing?
It's good. It's already out. I'll send you the link to it. It's on YouTube and shit. And I think he put it on Spotify too.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm gonna download the whole album and I'm gonna use that as like my waiting screen and stuff. Like whenever I'm not ready to be on air, but I want the channel up, I'm gonna use that stuff. Is it more the comedy?
So it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of some like I'm only in like one or two songs. I think it's mostly just him and his brothers. Like his brother, one of his younger brothers produced the entire album. Like all the beats are straight from him, and then another one of his brother raps too. So it's basically just the three of them. I think I'm on maybe like one song. I think so, but it's all like it's dope shit. It's hilarious. Like we're serious about not being serious. That's kind of like our tagline: turn your birthday to a lifestyle, and then we're serious about not being serious.
Why haven't we linked Adam up with Justin yet?
He did send us a couple beats, but we haven't hooked up. I think we did like one or two songs on him, but we haven't really done much with it. He's with his new business now. Like we haven't actually done any real work. We did a couple things like when his brothers came in town because they haven't been there in forever. Like they're from here, but they moved to like Phoenix and Albuquerque when they were like 4 or 5 years old. So it was like their second time back in Ohio since they've been adults. So we put some work in there, but it's been like few and far between because this is like wedding season. This is when Adam does most of his work. So we'll pick back up in the fall when things calm down.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm glad. He's getting to do stuff like that. I think that's actually pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
He's putting out album, and then you're getting in on that. I always have a fun time showing people the stuff that you do, that you've done with him and everything. Outside of hand jobs and HJs. What was that What was that music video where you were delivering a pizza and Adam just calls the cops on you because you're black?
It's called Call the Cops.
Call the cops. Dude, I find that shit so funny, man.
Oh,
who was the girl that y'all may wear that cop stripper outfit?
That's my kid's mom.
Oh shit.
Yep, that was actually her car. She bought one of those new fucking like Explorers that looks like a police car. It's literally police car blue and everything. And we just ordered some shit off Amazon. That whole outfit we got for her, and the lights in the car and everything. Everything was straight from Amazon.
Oh my god. Someone clip that shit right there. Oh my fucking god, dude.
Yeah, it's a family business.
Yeah. No shit, dude. I found that shit funny as hell. And then one of your most recent ones that came out like a year or so ago, where Adam didn't want you around his kids because you cuss too much.
Yeah, Megan's song.
Yeah,
really, that wasn't necessarily just about me. It was like her parents and some, just not necessarily just her family, but just we always have people like, we love your shit, but we just can't share it because you guys like cuss too much or like it's too wild. I'm like we're fucking grown, bro. What do you mean you can't share it? So like that song, and then that happened with her parents kind of like saying we cuss too much, and then it was funny because I did a whole song not saying a cuss word, and then he did a song called "Fuck It."
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You did do the whole song with no cussing. That's right.
Yeah.
I find myself in that weird position. I'm in my mid-30s, and you know, I still like. Because with my family, like the way it was raised, of course, was to be super respectful. In our way of showing respect was no cussing. Like that was the big thing. Was like no cussing, to not talk about adult things and stuff like that. Right. And since I didn't have too many like cousins or close relatives my age, and I always grew up like younger, I had a hard time shaking that around other people. Like I still find myself like, you know, I'm in my 30s and I still find myself like uncomfortable like sharing like adult related content and stuff.
Well, my mom was the big thing for me, like one, because my mom was the same way. Like my mom was super religious, like, you know what I'm saying, like clutch my pearls. Like she was really like understanding, like never really turned her nose up on us, but like I knew, like I could see like if I did something or if she saw something, I could see where it gave her that little like like that little sting, like, oh, my baby's doing that. But once she like understood what we were doing, and like that, the point of most of it was to get a reaction out of people and like to get a rise out of people. Like once she gave me the blessing on it, I was like, you know what? I don't give a fuck what anybody says. This lady that goes to church 3 times a week and carries a Bible with her, if she's okay with it, I don't give a fuck if your parents don't like it.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's weird. It's always that weird dynamic.
Right.
Like you be this grown man, but around the right people, you turn into that little kid again, you know? Yeah, man. Well, this is a fun show, RN. It was a good return to form.
Unscripted ones always are. Every time we hit it out the park with the unscripted ones where we don't have anything planned and we just start fucking talking. Every single time.
Now, to you guys listening, next week we are going to bring back the top 10. We're going to be covering 10 wrestlers that were rumored to sign with AEW and did not sign. Now they could have. It very well could be that it was just speculation as far as like, you know, let's say like Bray Wyatt probably on the list, even though he probably was never offered a contract. We don't know. There was still heavy speculation that he was going there, and then other names like Gargano, or who? Tell me, I forget. I always hate like on the spot trying to think of some. The female wrestler that got pretty much blacklisted for all the controversy stuff, and she won the Impact World title. Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, Blanchard.
Yeah, like so this isn't necessarily like 10 wrestlers or tag teams that AEW failed to sign, just that 10 or so that we thought were going to end up in AEW and for whatever reason did not.
Right.
We're going to do that list next week as well. If you guys want to check out, continue watching Twitch, doing more gaming stuff. I've been playing Demio. It's a fun like D&D like board game. Also, we're happy to sign the third show to the Smacked Raw brand. We're backed up to 3 shows. Ted the Hillbilly Heel, his show now is found exclusively on the audio platform side of things. So you're not going to see anything with him necessarily live on Twitch or on YouTube. But, of course, if you like to listen to our podcast, you'll find his show there. So it's fantastic having him there. I think that's pretty much it for all of my stuff. Follow me at the Kaitai Show on Twitter, where you can not only catch me talking about pro wrestling, but I like to talk about MMA and stuff. And over on Facebook, I guess this is the first I should plug Facebook. I've been making some actually pretty bomb reels. You should check them out, RN. Lately with UFC knockouts and MMA knockouts. I ain't gonna lie, some pretty brutal shit. You should go check out my Facebook.
Tag me in and I'll go. I'll fall down a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Check out these reels, man. They're
You got a TikTok?
pretty nasty. Not yet, man. Not yet. It's coming. It's coming eventually.
I'll make a show and then I'll give you the login too, and we just post so we can post all types of shit on it.
There we go. That'll probably get me over to TikTok finally. What about you, RN? You got anything going on, Mean Jelly Bean, or just let people know where to follow you?
Just hit me up on Facebook. ARA8984 on IG or at Route 4 Kennel, Mr. A94 on Twitter, and then Mean Jelly Bean Memes on Facebook, Mean Jelly Bean Productions on YouTube. Go ahead, check out some of those funny ass songs. We got a little bit of something for everybody.
All right. And check us out next week. The Rewind will be back. There's no pay-per-view next weekend, so we will be back on our regular scheduled time, 9 p.m. Eastern time, right here on twitch.tv/SmackedRaw. Until then, enjoy the latest beat from our buddy Justin at Heel Tactics _ where he remixed Tommaso Ciampa's entrance. It's pretty dope. See y'all later.
See y'all Sunday.
It's Bret the Hitman Hart.